He was homeless once, slept in his car, washed up in gas station restrooms, and drove from one comedy club to another with just enough money for gas. Today, that same man is one of America's most inspiring voices, a TV host, comedian, and author who turned his pain into power. His name is Steve Harvey. But what makes Steve's story unforgettable isn't just success. It's the faith, grit, and unshakable belief that carried him there. He once said, "Your career is what you're paid for. Your calling is what you're made for." Steve never chased a paycheck. He chased purpose. That's what kept him going when no one believed in him. He teaches us that you can't be afraid to jump. If you never take the leap, you'll never soar. The truth is, comfort never created greatness. Every dream demands risk. Steve jumped, and his wings appeared on the way down. He reminds us, don't let your past define your future. It was a lesson, not a life sentence. That pain you survived? It's not your prison. It's your preparation. Steve believes failure isn't the end. It's a sign you're trying. Every great comeback story starts with falling down. What matters most is the courage to rise again. And when you do, remember his words. If you want to be successful, you have to be uncomfortable. Growth only happens outside your comfort zone. Steve Harvey's life proves one thing. You don't need a perfect start, just a determined heart. After years of struggle, Steve Harvey finally made it to television. But success didn't come easy. It tested his patience, his faith, and his belief in himself every single day. He often says, God's plan is always bigger than your plan. When Steve lost everything, he thought it was over. But it was just the beginning of something far greater than he could see. He learned that rejection isn't punishment, it's direction. Sometimes God closes a door because he knows you're worth more than what's behind it. Those moments of pain, they're protection in disguise. Steve reminds us that you have to envision it before you can have it. He used to imagine himself hosting TV shows while living in his car. Every morning, he'd picture his name on the screen. That vision became his fuel, because if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. He also says, you can't tell big dreams to small-minded people. How true is that? The world will never understand your calling because it wasn't given to them. So stop looking for validation from those who can't see your vision. And one of Steve's most powerful lessons, faith is the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. He walked across that bridge with nothing but belief. And on the other side, he found purpose, legacy, and peace. Steve Harvey's story isn't just about success, it's about spiritual strength. It's proof that when faith drives your journey, no failure can stop your destination. If you're feeling inspired by this story, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who's ready to jump toward their destiny. There was a time when Steve Harvey thought he'd never laugh again. The world had seen his failures, marriages falling apart, shows being canceled, jokes misinterpreted. But deep down, Steve knew something most people don't. You can't let your setbacks define you. They're simply setups for your comeback. He believes every challenge hides a hidden gift. Your test becomes your testimony, he often says. And he lived that truth. When he was homeless, sleeping in his car, he didn't just cry. He prepared. Because he knew, one day his story would inspire millions to never give up. Steve also reminds us that your career is what you're paid for. Your calling is what you're made for. That's why he never let fame be his final goal. He wanted to help others rise, to show that your true reward isn't money, but the lives you touch along the way. And then there's one of his most soul-stirring lessons. When you pray for success, you have to be ready for struggle. Most people want blessings without the burden. But Steve teaches that faith without preparation is just wishful thinking. Finally, he says, your imagination is God showing you a preview of what's to come. Every vision, every dream, it's not random. It's divine direction. Steve didn't ignore his imagination. He followed it, step by step, until his reality matched his dream. His journey tells us one thing. You don't need perfect conditions to win. You just need unshakable faith and relentless persistence. Because when you trust the vision and keep moving forward, even your lowest moments can lead to your highest calling. There's something powerful about the way Steve Harvey talks about purpose. He once said, you have to jump. If you don't jump, you'll never know if your parachute will open. That's not just a metaphor. That's his life story. When Steve quit his job to chase comedy, he didn't have savings, security, or a plan B. He just had a vision, and faith that if he leaped, God would catch him. It didn't happen overnight. He failed. He struggled. He broke down in tears. But that jump changed his destiny forever. Steve reminds us that faith is like Wi-Fi. It's invisible, but it connects you to what you need. You can't see it. You just have to trust it. That's how he lived every day, not by sight, but by belief. He also warns us, don't let your haters stop you. They are your elevators. Think about that. The same people who doubt you are secretly helping you rise. Their criticism, it fuels your growth. Their disbelief, it pushes you harder. That's how Steve turned negativity into energy. And perhaps one of his most grounding quotes is, God's plan is bigger than your mistake. No matter what you've done, no matter how far you've fallen, your story isn't over. Steve's life proves that redemption is always possible when you refuse to quit. He learned to see every delay as direction, every loss as a lesson, and every no as a setup for the ultimate yes. That's the real Steve Harvey wisdom. Success isn't about luck, it's about faith, grind, and the courage to jump when fear tells you not to. When Steve Harvey talks about purpose, he doesn't speak from theory. He speaks from scars. He's lived it, slept in his car, lost everything. But what kept him going was the belief that pain was preparation. He once said, "You can't be successful without failure. You can't have victory without pain." Those words hit deep because they come from a man who's been knocked down more times than most people ever try. But Steve always got up. Every mistake, every rejection, every sleepless night, they were shaping him into something greater. He also said, "Your gift is the thing you do best with the least amount of effort. It's not something you learn, it's something you were born with." Steve's gift was to make people laugh, to speak life into others. The world tried to take that away from him, but he never stopped using it. And when people doubted his path, he reminded them, stop telling your big dreams to small-minded people. Because not everyone is meant to understand your vision. Some people can only see what's in front of them. Dreamers like Steve see what's beyond. Then came one of his most profound lessons. The dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. You can want success all you want, but without grind, without discipline, it stays a wish. Steve didn't wish for it. He worked for it. And through it all, he carried one message. You're never too old, too late, or too lost to start again. Every sunrise is another chance. Every setback is another setup. That's the Steve Harvey way. Faith first, work hard, and never, ever quit. Steve Harvey often says that faith is the bridge between your dream and your destiny. He once put it perfectly. You have to jump. If you don't jump, you'll never know if your parachute will open. Those words came from a man who took every leap life threw at him, from losing jobs, to being homeless, to chasing a vision that no one else could see. When he jumped, he didn't know where he'd land, but he believed that somewhere, somehow, God would catch him. He tells people, God's plan is greater than your mistakes. And that's not just a quote, it's a truth he lived. Steve failed big, but every failure became a detour, not a dead end. He teaches that if you're breathing, you still have purpose. You still have time to turn your story around. In another moment of wisdom, he said, your imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions. It's not fantasy, it's faith in motion. Every time Steve imagined more for himself, more came. Because imagination, when combined with work and prayer, becomes vision, and vision brings transformation. He often reminds people, don't let your haters stop you. Let them motivate you. The laughter, the rejection, the disbelief, all of it became fuel. He turned criticism into comedy and obstacles into opportunity. And maybe his most powerful truth of all, if you want to be successful, you have to change your mindset. Everything starts in your mind. You can't win the race of life thinking like a loser. Steve Harvey's entire life, from a struggling dreamer in Cleveland to a global icon, proves that faith, mindset, and work can rewrite any story. He once said, when you change what you think, you change what you do, and that changes who you become. So, if Steve's story and words inspired you today, remember this, you don't need permission to start. You just need courage. If you're finding this message powerful and don't want to miss more inspiring stories like this, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Because the next miracle might just start with your belief.